Hi, this is Mark with your analysis for Monday the 29th of November. I have shown you in the weekly video how there have been some major breakouts and some very technical signals that there is a big reversal and that the dollar is fighting back. However, we need to be careful because if suddenly tomorrow price whips back the other way, we need to ensure that we are only exposed to the dollar in one trade at a time. If you can get a trade into profit and move the stop to entry, then obviously take another trade. But if, for example, your risk limit per trade maximum is 3%, or your total exposed risk is 3% on open trades, if you take 3 trades, you have to split them into 1% risk per trade. Of the trades that I am looking at potentially tomorrow, the Aussie dollar is the one that interests me the most. This is the Aussie dollar on a daily chart, and there is a load going on here. I've just shown you we have an engulfing candle on the weekly chart, which is a strong indication that price is going to turn down, and the weekly stochastics are pointing down and everything else. Here on the daily chart we have a head and shoulders pattern, and there is a video in the Forex education section which explains how head and shoulders patterns work. The simplistic explanation is the distance between the head and the neckline, i.e. that middle figure of 523, 500, basically it says that the break here should equal the size of the distance between the head and the neckline being around here. So we're looking for a potential 500 pip drop on this pair. Where do we look for entry? Well, classic simple M2 method. We are looking for a pullback back up to here, 97.20 area, because it was huge major support and resistance. However, we also have this daily 55 EMA here at 97.010, and this will continue to turn down at market open tomorrow. So I'm going to look to short at 96.90 with my stop the other side of this neckline, and I am looking for a potential move down here, initially at least 300 pips to 9400. This is gold. Gold, similarly, I don't trade it, but I use it to look for clues for the Aussie dollar because they are highly correlated. And once more, we have a head, 2 shoulders forming, and a neckline. So it just gives me some confirmation. Will it work? Of course, we don't know. But all the clues are pointing to the fact the Aussie dollar is due a drop. And equally, I said on the euro dollar last week that I felt that it was going to drop, and it has finally cleared this weekly and monthly 55 EMA and the daily 200. On a daily move, we will be looking tomorrow to short at a pullback here around 33.70 area, the 200 EMA, with the stop the other side of the weekly and monthly 55. It is a little bit tricky. One option, what you could do is split your trade in half and only place half of the trade to sell here and the other half up here with a stop in the same place. Alternatively, I may just take the Aussie dollar, which, as I say, they are correlated and it looks a better trade with less in the way. Confirmation, as I explained on Wednesday, Thursday last week, the euro, when it's going down, the dollar Swissy is going up. And I was waiting for the dollar Swissy to break this all-important 1 for 1, 100. It has struggled here for the previous few weeks. Finally, price has broken and closed above it. This gives some strength to the theory the euro is going to fall. And therefore, if you were to trade the dollar Swissy instead of the euro USD, you would be looking for a pullback for 1,000 here with a view to a long. This is the dollar yen, very similar scenario. The dollar yen has finally broken 83.60, which had been huge support for the previous 2 weeks, resistance rather, and was previously support. Price has broken and cleared above it. What do? We look for a pullback to this area with a view to a long. This is the pound dollar. I just showed you on the weekly chart prior to this. Here we have, similar to the euro, we've had the breakout. You're either looking for a pullback to this weekly 55 EMA here at around 56.58, which will move down. So I will be looking to short at 56.40. However, it may only get as far as this 200 EMA. This is the CAD. The CAD is nicknamed the Looney, and it is very silly sometimes. It goes up one day and down the next. I'm quite simply going to leave it alone. I generally leave it alone anyway because of its silliness and its my inability to predict what it's going to do next. It's even more volatile at the moment. I'm going to leave it move away. Aussie dollar yen. I showed you on the weekly chart how we had an engulfing candle and price was looking to turn down. However, price spiked again to this daily 55 EMA. You could start drawing triangle patterns here looking for breakouts. I don't like what's below here. There's too much in the way. I'm going to leave it alone. And again, the Aussie dollar yen and the Aussie dollar dollar are highly correlated. And this is the euro yen. Once more correlated with the Aussie dollar yen. If you were looking to short this, you would be looking for a pullback to 112 with your stop above the EMAs and a possible target down here. Final one is the euro pound. I cannot make my mind up with this whether it broke the trend line or not. Here on the daily it looks as though it did. On the weekly it looks as though it didn't. I'd said last week I was looking interested for a short at 86, but the stops concern me. It's now sat here. If you're trading this on a weekly, you have to wait for price to close below on a weekly and then for a pullback. However, on a daily, you may decide already that this has gone. Personally, I'm more interested if price gets back up here to the 85.50 area. I will be more interested to short. And the reason is these EMAs should turn down a little more. This is an important daily trend line, major support and resistance above it, and therefore if I'm to short from this upper trend line, I only need a 60 pip stop with a view to a move at least down here, 1 for 1, which I'm not interested in, but I'm really looking down here a few 300-400 pips below. So that's what I would prefer on the euro pound, and I'll put everything in my usual notes in the write-up. Have a great week.